Would you please break a damn story?
He took.
Monday, PFTOT, Week 14 is done. We got plenty of things to get to that we didn't get to during the 2 hours that we were on NBCSN. But let's begin with the game of the year because there's still some things to unpack. And we touched on this a little bit, but I want to focus on it.
Okay.
48-46 final score. Exciting game.
Right.
Too high scoring.
Yeah.
How concerned should the 49ers and the Saints be about their defenses based upon what they did or didn't do on Sunday?
I don't think they need to be that concerned. One, I think those are really one of the two or three offenses that maybe could even do that to them in football is right there. So I don't think it's a big picture problem for either one. I really don't. I still think the 49ers and Saints are still one of the better defenses in football. I think this was just one of those days, one where, you know, a big matchup and two guys and Sean Payton and Kyle Shanahan who just knew they were playing a really good football team, knew they were playing a really good play caller on the other side, and that added to them more wrinkles, more creativity. We got to push the limit in this football game, and it kind of went from there. I would not be shocked if they played in the NFC Championship game and it went back to like 23-20, something like that. I think this is one of these things that both of these teams will learn from, but I think it's the first time all year these defenses have had to play really, really high-octane offenses, and I'm not necessarily concerned with the defenses overall.
We've seen the Saints give up 28, 27,
right,
27.
Yeah, they're reeling a little.
They held the Cowboys to 10. They gave up 24 to the Bucs.
Right.
They had that 13-6 game against the Jaguars that really is the outlier here. 25 to the Bears. There was a lot of garbage time points there. They blew out the Cardinals 31-9. They lost at home to the Falcons, giving up 26, 17 to the Bucs on the road, which is impressive because the Bucs are capable of scoring 40 in a game. 31 to the Panthers, 18 to the Falcons, and now 48 to the 49ers.
Yeah, I think I'm more concerned with them.
I'm more concerned with the Saints. Yeah, because I also think that the 49ers offense is less prone to sputtering than the Saints. I feel like the 49ers are always going to get their points.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even against
so
the Ravens in
weapons.
the rain, they got 17 points.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's so many weapons right now in the 49ers offense. We know Shanahan's awesome, but, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo playing well. He can push the ball down the field. But then when you take in Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuels, Bourne, Kittle, Mostert, Breida, you just go, holy cow. I mean, who do you stop on that offense? So I'm with you there. The Saints defense as of late has, and I've said this on my podcast a little bit, it has scared me a little. There's no doubt about that. I think their biggest problem is in certain situations, they just can't trust their secondary to play man-to-man. Marshawn Lattimore is the only guy they can really trust in those situations. P.J. Williams, Eli Apple, as we saw, you know, Gardner Johnson trying to cover George Kittle on the 4th and 2. You know, they're just not good enough man-to-man corners to make stops on 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5 against the really good quality offenses in football. And that's when you need to play man-to-man, is in those situations. So you take away those short type of passing plays and things like that. So I'm definitely more concerned with the Saints defense, but not as a whole, because I just look at it and I go, you know, these are two elite offenses with two really elite head coaches, and I just don't know if there's a lot of them out there to be able to expose either one of these defenses like that again.
One other wrinkle we haven't discussed from that game, Weston Richburg starting center.
Oh, that hurts.
Injured, and Kyle Shanahan said after the game it doesn't look like it's going to be good.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything.
Right.
I haven't seen anything specific, but yeah, carted off. And when the coach says something like that, that means the preliminary evaluation by the doctors has resulted in that, you know, they're concerned. You know, we hear all the time, oh, they're concerned he has a torn ACL, and that's going to be the worry.
It is. It's a huge position for that offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because it's Shanahan asks a lot of his center. You know, we know the run game and the inside-outside zone. You need to be very athletic. Think about it this way. When Kyle Shanahan was with the Atlanta Falcons, one of the first things they did in free agency was get Alex Mack, right? Because, hey, they're going to throw screens, they're going to run on the edge, and, of course, they're going to run up the middle, too. So you need to have a center that's very versatile that way. And Weston Richburg's one of the better ones in football. They paid him a lot of money. They paid him like he's one of the best one out there. So that is a blow to their team, because their offensive line is really where it all starts, and Shanahan through the run game and everything he does there. Now, the kid they got, I think it's Ben Garland, 63. He comes in. He's not a bad player. He was in Atlanta with Shanahan there, too, so understands the system and all that. But Weston Richburg's a pretty special talent at the center position.
And they have overcome injuries all year long. They've made no excuses.
Yep.
Right? They've got that right attitude, which is next man up and no excuses, and we're not going to feel badly for ourselves. But they have gotten through that. They've gotten to this record of 11-2 with George Kittle missing time, with other key players missing time.
Right.
Joe Staley missed weeks, and then he missed more time. Dee Ford's been gone. Mike McGlinchey's been gone. Kyle Juszczyk's been gone.
Right.
It's amazing, and they just keep it rolling. They just keep it going. But and I think they will keep it going. And you're right. I think it's going to be 49ers Saints in the NFC Championship game. The question is, will it be in New Orleans or in San Francisco? Either way, though, and the other point we made, I mean, I know it's important to have home field advantage, but in that Saints, Seahawks, 49ers round robin, they've all played each other, and the home teams are 0-3.
Right.
So maybe home field advantage.
Where do the Packers fit into there? Which is crazy because they're the number 2 seed.
Yeah,
right?
the Packers.
They're below them.
Right, but look at what happened to the Packers when they played the 49ers.
I know.
In Santa Clara.
You're right, and I think I don't think the Packers would fare much better if they're in New Orleans or in Seattle either. That would scare me.
The New England Patriots have lost 2 in a row, and they are literally and figuratively on to Cincinnati. The Bengals are up next in Cincinnati. It was that blowout loss to the Chiefs in September of 2014 that caused Bill Belichick to coin that famous phrase. It was a Sunday night back when the Bengals were good. Cincinnati came to New England, and New England destroyed them. We keep waiting for that now. We've seen 2 straight losses. A team that was 10-1, Chris.
Yeah.
2 straight losses. The inability to get it done yesterday against the Chiefs. Are they done? Are the Patriots done?
They're not done. They're not. And I'm never going to count the Patriots out. They're just.
What would it take for you to say they're done? Losing to the Bengals?
Yes, it would. Yes, if they lost to the Bengals this week, I would go, "Yep, it's over. They have no chance of making a run in the AFC playoffs." But they're just they're a coaching staff that's too smart. They're too creative. Brady's still too smart and too good to where if they can just get N'Keal Harry moved along in this offense and Mohamed Sanu totally healthy, and of course with Julian Edelman, that I always have belief that they're going to find the right formula for their football team. Now, the issue is, yes, Brady's not as good as he's been. He's 42. The offensive line, I think, is really the big thing that scares me more than anything, whether it's pass protection or the inability to control the line of scrimmage in the run game. And Mike, to me, the big thing is, they know it, which is weird. We're in the middle of December. It's very weird that we're talking about the Patriots in a work in progress with anything in December, but I think they know. Calling 2 trick plays yesterday, that Belichick challenging a Sammy Watkins 3rd down catch where there was really no clear-cut camera angle, but challenging it, those little just inklings showed me that, they realized oh man, we can't blow this situation, or we got to take advantage of this right here. Yes, they're not. It's just weird that we're questioning them.
Yeah.
Their schedule wasn't good this year. They dominated a very poor schedule. And now it's almost like I don't know where to kind of put them in the AFC as far as how good they really are.
They still haven't won the division because the Bills are only a game behind. They do have the Bengals on the road this week, then a Saturday home game against the Bills.
Yeah,
the Bills
that
can
won't
still
be easy.
catch them.
Right.
Week 17, the Dolphins come to town. And, hey, what would Brian Flores love to do?
That would
if he could be the fly in the ointment, the wrench in the gears that keeps the Patriots from winning the division or clinching a bye, and they have had a bye every year since 2010.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
They've been in the AFC Championship game every year since 2011, and it really is in question now. And you do have to wonder. And it's not like we're gonna throw dirt on the Patriots, but what we saw yesterday was stunning in the aftermath of the loss to the Texans.
Right.
And we see those plays where Tom Brady just kind of bails out and throws the ball. And look, the guy has played for 20 years. He's 42. He has young, strong, large, fast men chasing him. I can understand his reluctance to get hit. He got hit 12 times against the Texans, 6 more times against the Chiefs. And at some point, your self-preservation gene has to kick in.
Definitely.
But even that last throw, how many times have we seen a quarterback stand in there and know that hit's coming but want to deliver the most accurate throw possible with the game on the line, not the falling away, winging a prayer, hope my guy can get it. You stand there and deliver it, and you know you're going to take the hit. You didn't stand there. And again, I wouldn't either. I would never do it once.
No.
He's been doing it for 20 years. But when I see that, it just makes me think, how close is Father Time to taking over?
Little pieces of evidence.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. You're exactly right. And there was a handful of plays in the Houston Texans game too. And again, when you're under duress, you're going to be flinchy, but there's been little pieces here and there of a lot of games with the New England Patriots this year where, maybe there's a guy open. He aggressively flinches in the pocket because he thinks the pocket's about to collapse. And then, when he does gather himself, the guy's not open anymore. And, again, they are a work in progress totally on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not sure they can get it together. I know that staff will will continue to tinker and work with it. Brady still is dangerous. His arm is still really good. There's no doubt about that. There's just so much pressure on their defense and special teams right now to win games. I mean, it's unbelievable. Really, their first scoring drive, that happened too, let's not forget, because of 2 big pass interference calls. That's how they got the ball down the field. So even, in some of their successful drives yesterday, it was, mistakes by the Kansas City Chiefs or whatever. Having said all that, they had chances to win the football game and got unlucky. I mean, that game was crazy where the Chiefs dominated the game, and you go, man, the Chiefs should be winning like 33-10 right now. And then you went from, man, New England got screwed over in 2 calls. They'd be winning this football game. So even when they're floundering, they still find ways to be a pain in your ass.
Tom Brady was on WEEI this morning. He said he didn't get a ton of sleep last night, anxious to get in there, get back to work this morning. And he also addressed that issue of getting being on the wrong end of the officiating calls.
Yeah.
Not getting booed. But,
right.
but having those 2 calls that we talked about, he said when you play sports long enough, I think sometimes you're the recipient of things that go your way, and you're on the other side of it too. For me, I don't think too much about it. I wish it would go our way. Unfortunately, they didn't. It doesn't take away from when you watch the game, all the different things we had in our control that I wish we could have done better. So you don't make excuses for that because there's going to be games where it happens for you.
Right.
There's going to be games where it happens against you.
Yep.
You got to play well enough that you win even when it happens against you. All right, the Chiefs, you mentioned them briefly, but where do they go from here? They've won their division. Can they get a bye? Can they win on the road in the playoffs if they have to go to Baltimore, a team that they've beaten each of the last 2 regular seasons?
I do think they can. I think that, the Chiefs, this is what would be scary to me. I think their offense, and I know you heard me say this a little last week, it's something I kind of broke down on the podcast too, it's just they're tinkering with their offense. They have realized that they can't get in the shotgun and just go, Patrick Mahomes, drop back and we'll send everybody deep and you just throw lasers all over the field. No, the offense has kind of caught on to what they're doing. So they're trying to change their formula on the offensive side of the ball as far as running the ball a little bit more short passes to bring the defense up, to open up some of the deep passes. I think we saw some of that yesterday. Patrick Mahomes certainly underneath the center more. I'm encouraged by their defense, Mike. I really am. And I've been saying this for a few weeks. I have been. Even last week, again, hey, they beat the Oakland Raiders 40-9. You say what you want. I mean, it's 40-9. They let up 9 points. And yeah, Josh Jacobs ran for 100 yards in that game. It was all on one big run. They always have one mistake every game. That's been their biggest flaw. But man, Chargers in Mexico City, only 17 points. Raiders, 9 points. New England Patriots, 17 points. There's some evidence, even the Tennessee Titans game where they lost 35-32, there was some really strong moments in that game as well. I think Steve Spagnuolo is very creative, and, they're healthy on that side of the ball. Their secondary is better than years past, and Frank Clark and Chris Jones can be game wreckers, that we saw a little bit yesterday in that game. So where I feel good about the Chiefs. I mean, I would not be shocked if the Chiefs ended up in the Super Bowl. I just would not in the AFC. I think they match up well with the Ravens. They're scary for the Ravens. I think the Ravens are better, obviously, but in a one-game scenario, I mean, Mahomes gets on fire, who knows? And I think they're very scary.
We went from thinking it's going to be Patriots-Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to thinking it's going to be Patriots-Ravens to now this sense that maybe it's going to be Ravens-Chiefs
very
playing for the berth in Super Bowl 54. All right, 2 teams that will not be playing for a berth in the Super Bowl anytime soon, the Dolphins and the Jets. We mention them only because the game ultimately was decided by a decision to drop a flag for pass interference on a throw from Jets quarterback Sam Darnold that it was questionable, especially in light of the standard that we've seen all year where the bar was higher. At some point before week 1, someone told Al Riveron, the senior VP of officiating, to push the bar higher. And it feels like at some point in recent weeks, the bar is coming lower again. Right. Now, Riveron said after the game, the bar hasn't changed. But in that Miami-New York game, he did drop a flag via replay review. It gave the Jets the chance to win the game with a field goal. Outcome determinative call, and I didn't expect it. I did not expect it after the way it had been earlier this year. I don't like the fact that someone's not being honest with us, but it tells me that as we get closer to the postseason, maybe this is what they needed to do. They went through that stretch of the season where they didn't apply it aggressively, and now that you can't just turn it back on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You have to kind of ease it back on. So there's some genius to this, because then by the time the playoffs roll around, we'll know what the rules are, and the rules are It may be called. You have to be ready for it. But it does have that kind of magic eight ball vibe to it. We joke about that, but it really does feel like you don't know. Like with any other replay ruling, you know 95% of the time,
at least,
before they tell you what it is, because we've seen the replay over and over again. With this, we just don't know.
No, we don't. We don't, because it's annoying to me, this whole thing. And I don't agree with that call, in the Jets-Dolphins game yesterday. I don't. And good for the Jets. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from them. They fought hard, and that was a big drive to win the football game and kick the field goal. But, that's a bang-bang play. We're watching it in slow motion. That's the other thing we got to take into account. And, I think the frustrating thing for me is, we sit there with Coach Dungy and Rodney and, Mike Tirico and the rest of the crew all day Sunday, and we see some plays and we go, oh, my gosh, that was pass interference. Holy cow. And nothing happens.
Right.
And then we see other plays that go, oh, that was close. And all of a sudden it's the definitive pass interference. And so I don't know where to go from there. I do think it's absolutely erroneous to say nothing has changed. It certainly has changed. I mean, this is the third time it's changed. It went from preseason to moving the bar to it has to be so obvious it's pass interference, it's ridiculous to get called, to now it looks like they're kind of calling it by the letter of the law a little bit more.
Back to where Al Riveron was before the season started.
Right, exactly, right. So, this whole thing is a little frustrating.
And maybe somewhere they decided, what we're going to do? We're going to raise the bar so it's not something that becomes the big talking point week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we're going to raise the bar and there's going to be some confusion, but then we're going to ease it back in. Almost like the Todd Gurley workload. We're going to ease it back in before the playoffs, because that's when we really need to use it, because that's when the failure to have a mechanism in place to fix a bad call of pass interference, a non-call of pass interference, is the kind of thing that can blow everything up like it did last year, Rams Saints.
Yeah, well,
either way, I don't like it.
Yeah,
the experiment has failed. It's time to come up with something else. Sky Judge, Sky Judge, Sky Judge. All right, last topic.
Hey, Sky Judge.
Sky Judge. Last topic. Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
We heard some of the chatter last week. He had that vague response to a question about his future in Cleveland. Then came the story from Mary Kay Cabot, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, that, according to unnamed sources, he's being wasted in a dysfunctional offense. Then came the news he needs sports hernia surgery. Then came Jay Glazer's report that Odell Beckham Jr. is telling people from other teams, coaches and players he wants out of Cleveland. It looks like he's not going to be with the Browns next year.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to think of it there. Again, I mean, have they optimized what they thought, or optimized what they could get out of Odell Beckham Jr. in that offense? Certainly not.
Who's to blame? Freddie Kitchens?
Well,
I
think it has to start there. Yeah, it starts there. It goes to Baker Mayfield too. I think who's missed him a few times in every game. And then I'm going to put a little blame on Odell Beckham Jr. for not being there in OTAs and things like that too. So it goes around. Don't get me wrong. I love OBJ, but I'm not going to.
That's got to be painful to you.
Well, yeah,
twice in one day you've called out your heroes.
Well, yeah,
you've told Aaron Rodgers that the Scotch bit is overplayed, and now you're saying that OBJ should have been there for the offseason program.
If I can't be real with those two guys who know that I am the president of both of their fan clubs, then nobody can be real with them. That's all I'm trying to say there. But I guess the one, listen, I knew he was banged up. I had heard from a lot of people that he hasn't been 100% healthy the whole year. He was battling with things in preseason when I was there during training camp. And then, I think the thing that troubles me the most is just the Jay Glazer stuff. Jay is connected. Jay talks to a lot of players. He's got a lot of coaches. He's heard this from somebody directly, and
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't.
All
take
it takes
much.
is Beckham saying it to one of the
one
people
guy
who's on Glazer's network, and there it is.
It could be. And Jay's tentacles reach out farther than that. They do, because he's involved with a lot of players, with off the field training and things like that too. So, that's to me where it is a little bit troubling. I would think Odell would be happy in Cleveland from the standpoint of there's a lot of things to be happy about as far as the future there. I mean, Baker Mayfield, I still believe in him. He's there in a locker next to his best friend Jarvis Landry. There's talent on that offense. Nick Chubb is arguably the best running back in football. So, and we'll see what happens with the coaching, their coaching department. I don't know.
That's going to be a factor.
I think that will be a big factor.
Because I think he desperately wants to create something like the Patriots, or just play for the Patriots. But he sees how buttoned up the Patriots organization is, and he sees how undisciplined the Browns are. And look, I want to go a level higher.
Yeah.
I mean, John Dorsey is a great identifier of talent.
He is.
But you also have to be somebody who understands how all that talent is going to operate when you put it into a locker room and you shake it up.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have a team.
Right.
You have to have, and we said this about the Cowboys last week, that Jerry and Stephen Jones have put together a great group of talented players, but the whole is not greater than the sum of the parts. That's what you need. And there's too many dysfunctional personalities in that Cleveland locker room. And when you throw a head coach who's admittedly learning on the fly, that's not the way to get the best possible team.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think to your point, those are the decisions that John Dorsey's going to have to make, after the season. Because I do think, with Freddie Kitchens learning on the fly, and I think John Dorsey was put in a tough spot, one. He couldn't let Freddie Kitchens just walk out the door and go somewhere else. Because if he went somewhere else and had another great year as an offensive coordinator, everybody in the world would have gone, hey, what the hell? Why didn't we keep Freddie Kitchens? He's an offensive mind. He knows how to work with Baker Mayfield, everything like that.
Well, here's the danger. If you hire a defensive coach last year and it keeps working, then this is the year that you lose Freddie Kitchens. Like, what the hell?
That too.
And I argued in favor of that. Just go ahead and make the guy the coach.
Exactly.
But you also have to know when to pull the plug.
Yes, right. And I would think that is certainly a big conversation with the Cleveland Browns right now. Whether Freddie Kitchens is that right guy to lead them into the future, and maybe if not, they need to find that personality who can blend the locker room together and pretty much say, hey, no, I'm the new sheriff in town. I love all you guys' personalities, but we're going to keep it in check right here. We're not going to cross this line. Like Baker, you will not be talking about the training staff, and
you shouldn't have to tell him that.
I get it. I know. He's young and he's honest.
I don't care.
I
Look,
know.
You can be honest and still be.
He's trying to stick up for Odell. That's what he's really trying to do.
I know, but look. And we hear about this with the Eagles. It's emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And I thought Baker Mayfield got it. He's still immature, and you wonder how much of it is immaturity and how much of it is he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a chance he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are things assholes say.
Right.
We're look, I know we like Baker Mayfield and we like to have access to him, but let's be real. If he's going to be real, we're going to be real. What he said yesterday is something an asshole says. So either he's immature and he doesn't realize he said something asshole-ish, or he's an asshole.
Yeah. I would go with immature. I think he's got just the right amount.
I'm starting to think he's an asshole.
Well, I think he's got just the right amount of asshole, why we're saying this word so much on PFTOT today. I'm really enjoying it. To be a really great quarterback. I don't think he is a true all-around life asshole. I don't. I think he's just young. He's brash. He's a Texas gunslinger and went to Oklahoma and won the Heisman, and everything's kind of been good the last few years. And this is the first year he's had to deal with some skepticism and people questioning him and everything like that. And yes, he just hasn't handled it all perfectly. That's the biggest problem. But
I still love him as a quarterback.
I'm not ready to go down asshole lane with him
and you need
yet.
to have asshole tendencies to run a team.
Yes.
You need to be able to yell and scream at the right time.
Right.
But you can't go up and calmly call out the training staff.
Right.
That's a dick move.
It is.
It is.
But to me,
so
again,
he's either immature, he's an asshole, or he's a dick, or some combination of the three.
It's immature because we've heard coming out in the draft too that he was the most well-liked quarterback anybody had ever seen by the training staff at Oklahoma, the wait staff, all of them. They loved him.
Yeah, he never called any of them out publicly.
No, I think, and again, I think he loves the training staff there in Cleveland. I think he just went overboard with trying to kind of deflect some criticism of Odell Beckham Jr., and it just went wrong. And that's really where I'll leave it.
Yeah, Look,
Hey, you
again,
know what?
We love Baker Mayfield. We're just trying. We're trying to. You know what? Because the thing is, I don't think he's got anybody in that organization that is going to be as candid as we are.
No,
I think we're trying to do him a favor here, because I think they need somebody. And here's the thing too. Don't assume. I think John Dorsey has a role with the Browns, but think about the stories that we've heard when they've made their past two coaching hires. Paul DePodesta wanted Sean McDermott. Dorsey wanted Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Yeah.
Dorsey wanted Freddie Kitchens. DePodesta wanted Kevin Stefanski. How's that working out? I just wonder at what point DePodesta is going to acquire more influence in the organization, and whether or not ownership should put him in a spot where you try to work it out just right.
Sure.
Because John Dorsey is a great identifier and evaluator of talent.
Great eye.
What kind of a team builder is he, though?
Yeah, right.
And maybe you need to rely on somebody else to help
be the guy that's
to build the team that's going to work together.
Yeah, I get you.
Anyway.
I get you. Let's go. And you know what?
Something's holding the Browns back.
You're an asshole.
And I'm proud of it.
Yep, I know.
I've been an asshole for a long time.
You are. You're the king of
Hey,
assholes.
it's gotten me this far. Why stop now? Everybody have a great day. We'll be back again tomorrow. We need to come up with a show that works in the word like asshole and friends.
I think we can work
Think
it
that
out.
would work?
Don't worry. You
All
know
right.
it.
Everybody have a great day. We'll see you Tuesday.
Chris and an asshole.
I'm an asshole.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.